Hi, everyone. Good morning. Welcome. My name is Katherine Anderson. Thank you so much for joining us today for Inside Windows Security from Client to Cloud. I'll be kicking us off this morning, but we also have some amazing presenters today. Katharine Holdsworth is joining us from the Windows 11 security team. We have Pratik Shah from Windows Cloud, and we have our special guest star, 𝗦𝗽𝗲𝗸𝗀𝗻𝗔 will be joining us as well. Thank you so much for being here. I had booth duty yesterday, so my voice is a little raspier than it normally is, and thank you for bearing with me. I wish we could spend all day with you talking about Windows security, deep diving into every topic across the entire system, but we only have 45 minutes with you this morning, so we're going to be really focusing on the latest innovations, especially things that we've announced in the last week or in the last month. Our session will include some demos with some of these latest capabilities and announcements. We'll also include a couple of breakout sessions that we might recommend you either go to or check out the recording for. I'll be kicking off this session, and then we'll be diving into Windows 11 security and then Windows 365 security. And at the very end, we'll have some resources to share with you that just got announced in the last week, so you'll have something to leave with as you head out of this session. So let's dig in. Now, Windows is at the foundation of the Microsoft stack, and our mission is simple: protect what matters everywhere. And this is true now more than ever. And that's because security threats are rising and getting more complex. The Microsoft Digital Defense Report tells us a few things that just got released either last year or in the last couple months. First, your credentials and identity continue to be major targets for attackers. Second, attackers are constantly trying to break in using methods like social engineering and phishing attacks. And lastly, there are emerging threats. For example, AI. It makes us more productive, but it also makes attackers more productive as well. So keeping this in mind as you plan your security strategy is now more important than ever. And there's additional emerging threats like quantum computing that present new obstacles for security teams. All of these threats are things organizations need to adapt to, which is why last year in a company-wide memo, our CEO, Satya Nadella, was very explicit with us. If you're faced between a trade-off between security and another priority, your answer is clear: do security. That has been a big part of the Microsoft Secure Future initiative, Microsoft's commitment to making not just our products, but our processes more secure by design, more secure by default, and securing our operations. And as Windows continues to develop, you'll especially see a lot of the secured by design and secure by default components come into play here. Secondly, at last Ignite, we announced the Windows Resiliency Initiative. This is our commitment to making the Windows platform more reliable and more resilient, and helping organizations to better prevent, manage, and recover from incidents. If you want to learn more about that session, or about the Windows Resiliency Initiative, I recommend checking out a session this afternoon. And lastly, more secure with every release. That means that when you're getting those Patch Tuesday updates, when you're getting additional updates, we're building security into that priority every time. So in our session today, we'll be taking you up across the stack from hardware to cloud access on Windows 11. And then after that, we'll be talking more about how we bring that to Windows in the cloud with Windows 365. With that, I'll turn it over to Katharine Holdsworth.
Thank you, Katie, and hello, everybody. I'm thrilled to be here today to talk about my favorite topic, which is Windows security. So, we're securing every layer from the hardware to the cloud to help you and your teams to protect from threats of today and threats of tomorrow. And on behalf of our team, it's my great privilege to share with you some of the new Windows security highlights designed to keep your teams both protected and productive. But before we get into what's new, I think it's really important to start with the hardware security baseline of Windows 11. This helps ensure every Windows 11 device has consistent hardware security enabled by default. This hardware security is the foundation that gives you the confidence in the security of the operating system and everything built on top of it. And from a hardware point of view, we've taken our new 𝗦𝗽𝗲𝗸𝗀𝗻𝗄 a step further. They're secured core PC with advanced firmware protection, as well as have Microsoft Pluton and Windows Hello enhanced sign-in security. So with that foundation in place, let's talk about what's next in the hardware space: speed without compromise. So the first new security feature we're introducing this Ignite is hardware-accelerated BitLocker. Like you, I expect security and speed for my PCs, and I do not want to make a compromise between them. With hardware-accelerated BitLocker, it now taps into new CPU capabilities to deliver faster performance and stronger encryption. We're doing this in close collaboration with our Silicon partners. So to bring this to life, the team and I have created a side-by-side demo showing the difference between devices with hardware-accelerated BitLocker and those without it. So the first new capability here is going to be crypto offloading, which uses dedicated new accelerators for BitLocker encryption. This is important as offloading BitLocker to the hardware frees the main CPU so that other workloads can keep the performance that they need. So let's take a wee look. On the left here, I have a device running standard BitLocker, and on the right, a device with a new CPU which supports the hardware-accelerated BitLocker. I'm starting here with BitLocker decrypted on both devices. So once BitLocker is enabled, of course, I can check its status in the command line. I can see the device on the right has BitLocker hardware accelerated and the other does not. Now that we have both devices encrypted, I think it's fun to compare disk and CPU performance. And in this demo, I'm using two standard benchmarking tools, Windows Performance Monitor and CrystalMark. So on the right, you'll see hardware-accelerated BitLocker outperform standard BitLocker with faster sequential random read-write speeds, as well as lower CPU usage. With hardware-accelerated BitLocker, we're often seeing performance that approaches that of unencrypted devices, which also helps extend your battery life. In addition to better perf, it also has better security with hardware-accelerated BitLocker. To further reduce BitLocker key exposure to CPU and memory issues, on supported hardware, bulk encryption keys are now hardware protected, as you can see here, or check in the UI if you need. This puts Windows on a path to completely eliminate those keys from CPU and memory entirely. You'll start seeing hardware-accelerated BitLocker on new devices early in the next year, so we really hope you will check them out. So, of course, security does not stop at the hardware. Let's move into the OS and explore what's new to protect your environment. So, a strong security strategy, of course, starts with updates, and this is, of course, where speed matters as well. We've added two new tools to make that easier. First is hotpatch, which delivers updates with fewer reboots. This means you can keep your security and compliance on track without bugging your teams. And with autopatch update readiness, you get deeper reporting and insights so you can check update status across your fleet. There's a breakout session around autopatch and managing updates that was yesterday. I encourage you to check out that recording. Next up, how your device connects to the outside world also matters. We've added two new features which are already GA to strengthen that connection. First is Zero Trust DNS, which enforces policy at the device level, blocking malicious domains before they can do harm. This is perfect for regulated industries that need strict domain control. And Wi-Fi 7 for Enterprise brings seamless roaming, WPA3 enterprise authentication, and next-gen wireless performance for your business. They're ready for you to use now. So let's look ahead to the next big challenge, preparing for the quantum future. Quantum attacks may feel very far off, but we need to start preparing for them now. We've partnered with NIST and other global standards bodies to bring quantum-resistant algorithms to Windows, and our crypto APIs now support ML-DSA for digital signatures, as well as ML-KEM for key exchange. And these are already in Windows shipping code for both native Win32 app developers, as well as .NET app developers. So the team and I have prepared a demo using real shipping Windows PQC code in action so that you can see how it is working. So for the visual learners, here's a very simple flow of the app we've put together. We have two devices. Device A is the signer device. Device B is the verifier. On device A, I request two certificates. one from the traditional Windows Certificate Authority, and one from the post-quantum crypto certificate authority. I then signed my document with both of those certs, and I sent it over to device B. Device B will validate both signatures, proving authenticity under both traditional as well as post-quantum security models. So this is a simple .NET app to show how easy it is to request both traditional and PQC certificates. In the blue box, you'll see a request for the traditional certificate. In the red box, the same request, just with the input parameters changed for PQC certs. The best part is that your developers don't need to learn PQC deeply to use PQC. If you're using the crypto APIs today, you'll use the same ones for PQC tomorrow as well. Now we'll run the app and request both the traditional and PQC certificates. We recommend using both at the moment. You'll see they're issued and written to my chosen folder on the left. So there they are. Now, if we look at the PQC certificate just requested, you can see the chain is valid, and in the Details tab, the signature algorithm and public key are 𝗦𝗽𝗲𝗸𝗍. Since we've got so little time here together today, I won't complete the full demo, but you get the picture. What I really want to leave you with is this. Windows is ready for you to start experimenting with PQC now, so you can start preparing for the quantum future. We've published practical guidance in our GitHub repo and Microsoft Learn docs to help you on that journey. So let's shift gears and talk about better visibility for security teams. To share more, I'm thrilled to invite Mark Rasinovich onto the stage to give a demo.
Thanks. Morning, everybody. So how many of you have heard of Sysmon? Just a quick raise of hands. So quite a few of you. So let me tell you the story about how Sysmon came to be. Back in 2014, John Lambert, who runs our Microsoft Threat Intelligence group, came to me and said, we've got a threat actor that has breached some Microsoft systems. And they've got some methods of attack that we don't have good way of doing telemetry on. And we like to catch the tools they're using. And hey, Mark, can you write a tool for us that will go do things like take what's in the clipboard, save it to disk, go take a file that's about to be shredded and save it before it gets shredded. And thus was born Sysmon. We used it to hunt down that attacker. And I continued to add features to it that would let us go and target specific methods, advanced methods that a lot of malware and attackers use to try to breach systems. Sysmon's grown over time. It's being used by thousands of organizations, including maybe some of yours. But one of the challenges with Sysmon has been when I update it, you go have to download it, deploy it across your environment, reboot those systems to get the new versions, and that's proven to be very onerous. And sometimes people aren't getting the latest updates, which could include security fixes. So I was talking to Dave Weston on the Windows team and said, hey, maybe we should put Sysmon into Windows, and that way people would get it automatically and could have it updated automatically for them, and they wouldn't have to deal with that burden. People could just take advantage of it. And thus, we now have Sysmon functionality coming into Windows. So instead of the old way of doing it, now you simply enable it, and with a default configuration, it'll catch things like process start, process termination, and some other events with deep information like the hashes, different types of hashes for the processes. Or you can go a step further and enable advanced functionality. Sysmon supports very rich configuration that will allow you to target specific types of activity. And rather than catch everything and then go have to filter after the fact and cause a heavy burden to your system, you can go tune it for your particular environment, excluding events that aren't interesting so that they never get written to the event log, and capturing the ones that you see as relevant to threat actors that might be in your environment. Sysmon collects this information into the Sysmon event stream, which you can just capture with any seam, forward it to a collector, and do analysis. So it fits right into any kind of security product that you might already have installed. Now, let me show you a quick demo of Sysmon functionality in action for those of you that might not be familiar with what it can do. One of the techniques that attackers use a lot of times to try to harvest credentials off a system is to go do memory dumps of processes that might be holding credentials in memory. One of those that has historically done that is LSAS, the Local Security Authority subsystem in Windows. So we want to, and by the way, most of the time now, credential guard's protecting those credentials, but nevertheless, threat actors might go try to dump it just in case they might find something there. So we want to define a configuration that goes specifically after detecting when somebody might be going and try to capture a dump of LSAS. And so we've set a configuration here in Process Monitor, XML configuration here. You can see target image condition contains LSAS. Now we're going to install that configuration. And then we're going to execute a little command with run_dll, which is a built-in Windows tool, so it might fly under the radar because it's Microsoft signed, with the command line that causes a memory dump of LSAS. We just executed that, and you can see there's the memory dump. So now the question is, did we catch that in action? Let's go take a look at the Sysmon event log, do a refresh, and there is our event catching the run_dll32, dumping LSAS with the process access event that Sysmon has logged. And then one line back, you can see the process create for LSAS, which includes the command line as well as other information about the process. So with that, want to encourage you to go check out Sysmon if you haven't. It can be extremely useful and augment your existing tools, security monitoring tools and analytics tools, again, specifically for your environment. And I'm thrilled to finally have some of my own code shipping inside of Windows after all these years. So thanks very much.
And thank you very much, Mark. It's been fun working with you and your team. And yes, we are very excited to have 𝗦𝗽𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 code shipping in Windows as well. So let's switch gears and talk about agentic interactions on Windows. We've heard all ignite about the incredible opportunities AI opens, and our job is to help keep those interactions secure. So in Windows, we're starting with auditable workflows, where local activity is logged for visibility and accountability. Of course, the platform is fully enterprise manageable for all you IT admins in the audience. We're also adding containment and isolation for agentic workspace and connectors. This means processes that implement MCP or computer using agents stay isolated from user apps and data, reducing data leak and cross-boundary risks. So here in the Windows UI, I show all the agentic capabilities are off by default. To enable agent connectors and the agent workspace, I need to turn the setting on. And as I mentioned earlier, this is enterprise manageable, so if IT disables the agent interactions, I won't be able to flip this toggle back on. And for the IT management and all you IT pros in the audience, agent connectors and the agent workspace will have granular control through your favorite MDM service. I'm showing an example here of what it will look like in Intune. These controls will continue to evolve as we hear your feedback, so we really do encourage you to send us your feedback because the team is listening. Speaking of Intune, we've partnered really deeply with Intune to make app and driver control easier. Intune recently released their managed installer, and when paired with App Control for Business, IT admins can now more easily block risky software while still allowing your trusted line of business applications to run. As you probably all know, a strong app control strategy is incredibly important, as it's one of the most powerful protections you have against malware for your organization. And lastly, as Katie mentioned earlier, phishing and password threats do remain a top attack. That's why we continue our passwordless journey. To reduce these risks and make sign-in significantly faster, smoother, as well as more secure, we're really excited that Passkey Manager integration with Windows Hello is now generally available. We've onboarded Microsoft Password Manager, along with partners like 1Password, Bitwarden, and others. So let's take a quick look. Again, I'm going to bring this to life with a very short demo, where I will show the Microsoft Password Manager integrated with Windows Hello, and then the smooth experience saving and using passkeys. So here for this demo, I'm using my LinkedIn account and I want to create a passkey for it. I navigate to Settings in LinkedIn, Sign in Security, then Passkeys. I select Create a Passkey, I get prompted to enter my account, and I'm asked where I want to save my new passkey. So of course, I'm going to choose Microsoft Password Manager. I click Create Passkey. Hello prompts me to authenticate with my face, and now I'm authenticated. My new LinkedIn passkey is successfully saved. Good, nice and easy. Now I want to go ahead and use that passkey I just created to sign back into LinkedIn on the Windows LinkedIn desktop app. So I navigate to the app. When I open, my passkey simply autofills. Hello prompts me to verify again with my face. I'm now signed in, all with no passwords. So managing passkeys on Windows is also important as you use passkeys for more and more accounts, and you need to see what passkeys you have and what ones you need. So to manage my passkeys in Microsoft Password Manager, I simply go back to Edge, where I can see the credentials for all my accounts, including the newly created LinkedIn passkey. So with Passkey managers now integrated into Windows Hello, using passkeys is now super fast, super smooth, and secure across both websites as well as apps on Windows. And of course, you'll get similar experiences with any other passkey manager that integrates into Windows, like 1Password, Bitwarden, and others who we're working with to get integrated. Sadly, my time is up. I would happily talk about Windows security all day. I've created this slide so you can see a little snapshot of what is new and what is next in Windows security. With the ever-changing threat landscape, security must remain a journey for all of us. The team and I are deeply focused on continually raising the Windows security bar, adding new threat detection like we just heard from Mark, so you and your teams can stay both protected as well as productive. And of course, security does not stop at the physical Windows device. So to show you more about the security of Windows with the power of the cloud, please join me in welcoming Pratik to the stage.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Katherine. That was amazing, by the way. All right, let's talk about Windows cloud security. Windows 365 creates a whole new category of PCs that we call cloud PCs. Cloud PCs offer a personalized experience with content, desktop, file, apps, all of it streamed from Microsoft Cloud to your device. That means now you have a familiar experience with Windows. If you're an IT administrator, you have a familiar experience with Intune, administrating, managing, and securing the cloud PCs, as well as Windows 365 is a managed service, which means that you can scale up the compute and storage based on your needs. Windows 365 is the product name for the cloud PCs that provides the secure computing from the cloud. Now, cloud PCs runs in the hardened Azure environment, leveraging zero trust principles. Security controls such as Microsoft Entra, Intune, Purview, Defender, all of it are baked in with the cloud PCs, which means now when you provision the cloud PCs, you get compliant and risk-free provisioning. Windows 365 also has delivered resiliency at scale, which means that now disaster recovery or point-in-time restore in case that organizations have disruptions or incidents which can easily be managed directly with Windows 365. When we talk about devices or accessing cloud PCs from any device, we literally mean any device. Your users can use Surface, Mac, Linux 10 clients, or even tablets on mobile devices. With that in mind of accessing or allowing several different kind of enterprise or personal devices or contractor managed devices, we wanted to make sure that we have a purpose-built Windows 365 device, which we announced last Ignite. It is Windows 365 Link. It has been available in 13 countries and going to be available in 7 more soon. The beauty of Windows 365 Link is that we started building security right there at the hardware level, or silicon level, if you will. The link device has zero OS footprint, which means that the attack surface is reduced drastically, and there is no local administration, no local admin rights. Even if the device is lost, stolen, or damaged, there is nothing for an attacker to steal the enterprise data from. What makes it even more secure is the hardware security capabilities, which is TPM 2.0, VBS, or virtualization-based security, hypervisor code integrity, all built in, BitLocker, as well as identity-based securities, specifically with the Windows 365 Link device. The experience for your users is pretty seamless. From an identity perspective, we support all the important identity-based authentication, FIDO2, Passkey, smart card, and that way you can achieve an end-to-end passwordless experience for those users. Now, talking about operating system, you heard Katherine speak specifically about several cool, innovative features and functionalities within Windows 11. The coolest DR, or disaster recovery feature, that I'm actually pretty excited about with Windows 365 is point-in-time restore. If some of you folks remember, in 2024, we had a major incident. The incident brought down multiple frontline workers, airports, devices which were not able to access the important core services. Or if you think about an unprecedented Windows update or a patch which did not go according to the plan, what do? As an administrator now, with Windows 365, you can roll back to any of the 14 available options to restore your PCs back. The feature is so easy that you can even allow your users to roll back to any of the available restore options. Thus, this way, you can continue the productivity for your end user. And specifically with the operating system, I'm super excited that this week we announced the public preview of Windows Cloud I/O protection. Very often, on your users, if they are a BYO user bringing in their personal device, or a contractor or a vendor, what you often worry about is the input or the keyboard-based malware, which are lying around if the user is visiting any of the malicious sites or an unknown website and so forth. The users download keyloggers, keystroke injectors, or DLL injectors and so forth. You do not have a lot of control over those kind of scenarios. And so with Windows Cloud I/O protection, we now provide a public preview, which is very easy to install. Take a look. As an administrator, all you need to do is create a GPO policy specifically within the AVD the folder. And in future, we're going to also allow more RDP-based properties. We're also investing in more notification on the end user front to create trust so that we can allow the user and the admins to know that the I/O is protected at the input level. Now, let's talk about agents. You heard Katherine also talk about agents on Windows OS. AI has been evolving from a digital assistant to a digital coworker. We're very excited to announce the public preview of Windows 365 for agents. We built Windows 365 for cloud PCs, for cloud PC to use cloud PCs for humans. And now we are embarking on a brand new journey to allow the cloud PCs for all AI agents in future and continue to pivot for simplicity, observability, security, and explainability all packaged in when you try to create these digital coworkers, which means now a Windows 365 for agent opens the doors for computer using agents, or 𝗬𝗲 if you have heard of these terms. It can be accessed on Windows, Linux, or web, any of those applications. And what you can do with Windows 365 for agent is endless. Example, all of us, when we go back, we have to file our own expense reports, isn't it? The expense report or PowerPoint automation are a lot of digital co-working, which can be automated, can be achieved on with Windows 65 for agents. Now, let's talk a little bit about apps and data. Data is the crown jewel for our organization, and we've heard that so many times. One of the beauties of Windows 365 is centrally managed from Intune, starting from provisioning to deprovisioning and everything in the middle with regards to troubleshooting, fixing, securing, applying security baselines, and so forth. But let's talk about Windows 365 app security within the same life cycle of managing through Intune. Organizations apply MAM-based policy, which is one of the more popular policies, if you will. That way you can protect the per app-based access that you allow for those users who are either an enterprise user or a personal device user. And what's really exciting today, this week, we are announcing Windows 365 Cloud Apps. For many users, they may not need access to a whole desktop experience. They just need access to few applications which are line of business. This was one of the top asks from our customers. And we announced the general availability of Windows 365 Cloud Apps this week, which allows the organizations to provide specific direct access to cloud apps versus the whole desktop. This way, as an administrator, you have direct control over those line of business applications that you want to provision for the user. And security is inbuilt with regards to the way you provision those cloud apps. To learn more, take a look at the breakout session. There is a recording which unlocks full power of Windows 365. And MAM, if you've heard of that, time and again, a couple of nights we've been talking about mobile app protection. We've been investing further with device-based policies as well as device health checks, which means now you're going to be able to create more policies with MAM on different platforms, different OSs for that matter. Example, if the app version is not up to date, if the operating system is not up to date, or if the AV or a firewall is turned off, you can immediately provide a restricted access on those users accessing your cloud corporate resources. Now, we have all heard and many times practiced the factor of identity being a cornerstone of security. You enable identity for those users to enable enhanced experience, passwordless login, MFA, and so forth. And all of those are obviously powered by conditional access with our Entra partnership with our Entra services. But as Katherine mentioned earlier, identity has been a new attack surface, particularly for credential theft. Windows security now makes identity protection stronger as well as access more simpler. And what that means is passwordless experience using biometrics, passkeys, as well as various kind of FIDO2 or FIDO2 key-based keys are all supported specifically with Windows 365, delivering simple sign-in experience and providing a perfect level of credential protection. But at this Ignite, we're also super excited, yet another announcement. And this has been one of the top customer asks as well. B2B external identities is now generally available. With B2B external identities, you can allow your partners, your third-party vendors, or contractors to allow the core cloud resources without the need to create an additional identity for those guest users. Which means now, all they have to do is log in and change the tenant or change the account and get access to your cloud resources, cloud PCs that you want to deliver, or cloud apps. Setting up B2B is as simple as many of the other policies that you set up. Let's take a look at a brief demo in action. Now here, in Intune, the IT administrator can easily go to the User tab. Here, we are going to create a fictitious user called Cameron. And while the user gets created, let me explain a couple of important, significant pointers here. B2B allows various identity providers, which means that it can allow built-in Entra-based provisioning. It allows Entra-based tenant with our commercial cloud. It allows Entra MSA, which means Microsoft account. It also allows for the federation of any of the social identities, such as Google, Facebook, or a custom SAML-based auth. The B2B external identities uses the same conditional access policies. Here, Cameron is logging in, checking out the permissions that he has accessed from his corporate policies. Once Cameron logs in, this is, in this particular case, using Windows app on the web browser, Cameron is able to now see the cloud PCs which are configured to provision for him. And the conditional access enforcement works at the same level, which means that if there are several policies with regards to auth, if there are several policies with regards to changing the IP address, location, or frequent sign-in that is required if Cameron is one of the support users who needs coffee and goes away from the desk, the same conditional access policies with frequent sign-in is also possible. Once As a user, Cameron signs in as a guest user. So imagine a specific scenario where Cameron is a Fabricam user trying to access cloud resources into Contoso. This is easily possible now with B2B external identities. And finally, when you think about cloud access, we're super excited to go even deeper with our investments with specifically BYOD device protection. Now, I'll tell you a little fun fact. These days, a lot of you are coming up and talking to us a little bit more about CYOD, if you've even heard of this concept, which is you're letting your organization or your users choose your own device versus just a BYO device. But the concept remains same, which is the BYO device policies where you have limited control over those personal devices can actually be managed at the cloud PC level. You can apply the conditional access policy that we have seen and spoken about, but you can also build in and configure several data protection policies: watermarking, screen capture protection, clipboard protection, and more. Before, when you allowed your BYO users to use their personal device, and you still needed to worry about access to different corporate resources such as file, content, apps, and more. But with Windows 365, BYO scenarios, employees or contractors, when they bring in their personal device, they can access corporate resources securely through cloud PCs. I encourage you to download the Securing Your BYOD Device Strategy ebook, which can give you a blueprint in terms of organizing your policies and how you can protect your BYO devices. Let's see a demo in terms of how a clipboard protection works in this particular case, which is a very popular use case or a scenario where you as an IT administrator want to enforce some of the data protection policies, both at ingress or egress. Here, you can easily simply set a BYO device protection as a policy, configure the setting, and sorry about the click. Configure the setting. It is going back and forth with that particular screen. But OK, there you go. The cursor started moving now. Configure the setting and create the policy both at the ingress or at egress level. Meaning, if you wanted a combination of allowing the clipboard protection only at the cloud PC or only at the local device, you can do so. Here, I'm creating policy for restricting clipboard specifically from server to client and client to server. On the end user side, on the left-hand side, what you see is a cloud PC, which is a Windows app on a browser with the users logging in. On the right-hand side, what you see is the Windows 11 or the personal computer that the user has. The cloud PC could have personal information, sensitive financial information, or social security numbers, or any of those parameters which compliance is obviously very important for you as an auditor. Let's say if the user is trying to copy and paste any of the financial information or sensitive information from the secure container on the cloud PC on the left-hand side to the right-hand side to egress or leak the data out, that's restricted now based on the policies that we just set up. And similarly, when the user tries to copy and paste data from the local PC to the cloud PC, that may or may not be allowed based on the combination of the policies that you set up. Here, I want to allow that productivity enablement, and so I'm allowing the copy-paste to be set up within the cloud PC. I said finally, but I'm going to say finally again, because this is one of the most exciting features, and I'm super proud of Windows 365 with Reserve as GA. Speaking about BYO security, what happens if you have a physical device that is lost, stolen, damaged, or if you spill over coffee on your keyboard, or if there's a ransomware attack that brings you to pause? Windows 365 Reserve offers a physical PC which is used as a temporary emergency or a loaner cloud PC whenever the user needs it. It is like an insurance for your cloud PC, letting your end user get back to productivity within instances. OK, with that, I'm going to bring Katie back and take us through. Thank you.
Thanks, Pratik. There you have it. We walked through a lot of different things across Windows 11 and Windows 365 here today. So hopefully you got a lot out of those demos. We still have some things to share with you at the last part of this presentation. All right, Some of the main takeaways. Recognizing security as a journey. A lot of the things that we talked about are across identity, applications, security that goes end to end. Think about those as you're building out your security strategy, and recognize that Windows is your partner in that security evolution as well. Keeping your systems up to date with capabilities like auto-patch and hot-patch that Katherine recommended is also crucial. Building resiliency into your strategy. This is becoming more important now than ever. Both Katherine and Pratik talked about capabilities like point-in-time recovery, making sure that your point-in-time restore, making sure that your systems are able to be up to date. Windows 365 Reserve is a cloud PC that's available. If you don't have Windows 365 cloud PCs right now, they are ready to go, and you can deploy them as needed if your physical devices go down. Anticipate the unexpected and prepare for disruptions. And then lastly, plan for future threats. We talked about securing AI and how important that is as AI becomes more prevalent across the organization, and also preparing not just for the short-term problems you're gonna have, but also things like post-quantum cryptography and how that can help you protect your sensitive files in the long term. As quantum computing becomes more of a reality over the next 5 to 10 years, thinking about your strategy and how you protect your sensitive files and making sure that you're keeping your data safe is crucial. Here are some resources. I know there's a lot of QR codes on there, so I'm going to give you just a moment to take a photo and look at some of these screens. The Windows 11 security book. This is on the Learn page. This is something that we just updated this week with some of the latest announcements, but is your go-to resource for all things Windows 11 security. Secondly, if you are looking at BYOD strategies, using cloud PCs as part of your environment and thinking of security as one of the core things that you need to plan around, we have a Securing Your BYOD Strategy with Windows 365 ebook. Just got updated on Tuesday as well, with all the latest and greatest announcements that Pratik talked about as part of his section. And then lastly, we have a Windows security and resiliency blog. It talks about agents. It talks about a lot of the passkey protection things that just happened. It talks about WRI, which, like I said, there's going to be a session here later today. But it covers a lot of the most recent announcements and also offers a lot of good resources. One thing I love about that blog is it talks high level about what we're doing, and then it links to all those tech community blogs that says, okay, this is exactly what this feature means, this is how it gets released. These are some resources to learn more about those specific features. So if you haven't checked that out, strongly recommend. It has a good summary of all of our big announcements across Windows 11 security. If you're not on Windows 365 already, I want to do a quick plug that there is a discount available through April, so something for new customers as well if you are looking to get on that security journey with cloud PCs, especially as you think about resiliency and having that flexibility of Windows in the cloud. With that, please let us know how we did. Thank you so much for being here today. I know it's 8:30 in the morning, so really appreciate you joining us.
That concludes the session. Thank you for joining us and enjoy the rest of Microsoft Ignite.